Hello, this is Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show. This is Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, and I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Today, we will talk about Rogers Park, our neighborhood. For those of you who don't know that much about Rogers Park.
Rogers Park is one of the 77 communities of the city of Chicago. It encompasses 3 different zip codes, 60626, 60645, and 60660, but it doesn't encompass all of those, the entirety of those zip codes. It also it has the 49th ward in it, but the parts of it does not have the 49th ward. And it also has, what is the other ward? Alderman Vasquez ward.
40th ward?
Yeah, in it as well. So we're one of the most diverse communities in the city of Chicago, if not the entire United States of America. And we celebrate our diversity with our culture, with our people, with our art, and with our restaurants and with our love. We really love our community of Rogers Park, and I've been in the neighborhood for almost 3 decades about now, maybe. And you've been in the neighborhood
Since 2017, and then
Right.
I've started living here about 2 years ago. I always thought that 60626 was like the entire 60626 was inside the 49th ward, but maybe not.
I believe it is, but 60660 is more around, I believe, Edgewater, and 60645 is somewhat in Rogers Park, but I think mostly in West Ridge.
Well, I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between West Ridge and Rogers Park. You tried explaining that to me in the beginning when I started working with you.
Sure. A lot of the realtors over the years, they like to call Rogers Park and West Ridge East and West Rogers Park. Actually, there's really no such thing as East or West Rogers Park. As far as I know, there's Rogers Park and there's West Ridge. Rogers Park is located east of Ridge Boulevard and Ridge Avenue. It's east of Ridge, and West Ridge community area is west of Ridge. West Ridge. Rogers Park is Community Area 1.
And so Devon Avenue is the southern boundary of Rogers Park as well as of West Ridge?
Devon Avenue is the southern boundary of Rogers Park as well as Edgewater.
Edgewater. Okay.
And Loyola University campus is in both Rogers Park and West Ridge. The Loyola University Chicago Lakefront campus is.
Oh.
Little history. Back in the day, they used to have the Rogers Park Sheridan Road address as their main office. But one of our local bloggers, Craig Gernhardt, started a trend of reporting on what's going on in our neighborhood, the activity and the violent activity and the gun violence and the crime. And so he really got the word out about what was going on so that we can hopefully fix these issues, shed a light on these issues that our alderman at the time really wasn't taking care of. And so Loyola was on Sheridan Road, 60626, but at the time, because of Craig Gernhardt and his blog, The Broken Heart of Rogers Park, shedding a light on the crime, historically shedding the light on the crime in our neighborhood, with a new thing called a blog, they changed their main headquarter address to an Edgewater one in 60660 zip code.
Oh.
Because the crime stats were very well known in 60626 zip code, so they had to change it.
And this was over 10 years ago. Well, I guess when there was blogging, first there was blogging, right? And then there was MySpace, and then there was what, Facebook?
Well, yes. Yes. Long time ago. Long time ago. And before that, there were websites, and before that, I guess there were newspapers. So that's what we're talking about. Really long time ago. And I have to say that Craig Gernhardt's no longer with us. He was the owner of Gay Chicago magazine. He inherited it when his father, Ralph Gernhardt, passed away. And he, you know what, he hired me for Gay Chicago magazine when I really needed a job. So I really do respect Craig. I respect the work he did in shining a light on what was really going on in Rogers Park. And that really influenced me to start my blog, Rogers Park in 1,000 Words. A picture is worth 1,000 words, especially in Rogers Park. You can still see the archives that they had on rp1000.blogspot.com. So that's some antiquity, some Rogers Park antiquity there. But he really encouraged me to do that, and then from there, got more into media, got more into radio, television, internet, press, word of mouth, and eventually politics, to try to shape things and to make our community a better place, and eventually the city of Chicago. We've done a lot with that, and now to this day, thanks to Trudy's assistance and Ari Paloma of the amazing Heebie Jeebies, the band from Rogers Park, moderating, we have become Rogers Park News, which I've created, has become the largest and most inclusive public group in Rogers Park. And we have about, how many we have right now?
On Facebook, this group is 21,600 members. We hit the 600 mark last week.
So it's going to keep on growing. If you see the reruns here, it might be 26, 28, who knows how many thousands. It's going to keep on growing. It's a wonderful thing, and we bring our community together. And that is why I mentioned Craig Gernhardt, because his journalism and his on-the-spot reporting and being at the right place at the right time with his camera and blogging about it and really being the nag fly to the alderman at the time has really inspired me. He was hard to deal with at times, but he had a heart of gold. And so, in memory of Craig Gernhardt.
I also remember how you always tell me about the different areas that you have been because you were working as a delivery driver for Gay Chicago magazine. You deliver to businesses, to the boxes, right?
Sure.
And then whenever we travel to different neighborhoods for events, you would say, I remember this and that, and then I used to deliver in this area to that business, to that corner.
I could name every gay hotspot, nightclub, restaurant. And back then, churches that had different organizations, and back then they were called gay-friendly churches or LGBTQ only churches. I delivered to all of these, Howard Brown and Howard Health Center, and everywhere, all these medical clinics. And I would go all the way over to Jeffries Boulevard. I drive Jeffries Boulevard, and then I would go as far north as Evanston, and then I would go as far west as Riverside Brookfield. I would go to some adult clubs in Riverside Brookfield, some churches out around the far suburbs around there, and I got to know all the business owners there, the heads of nonprofit organizations, the leaders of the LGBTQ plus movement, many decades ago.
Riverside Brookfield, is that the area where Brookfield Zoo is?
It's right by Brookfield Zoo, and my job was to do the ad sales. So every issue of the Gay Chicago magazine, every weekly issue had a different theme. So if it were around February, it'd be the Valentine's theme. And so it would be all these Valentine's things, themed advertisers. We'd have our regular advertisers, a lot of different things, all kinds of different things. And I would deliver these over 15,000 Gay Chicago magazines to all of those boxes downtown, on Dearborn, and everywhere else in one night in the van every single week.
One night you covered the whole 15,000 copies everywhere, or just downtown?
If I did it right, I had to. Craig showed me the shortcuts. He showed me how to make the turns and how to save time and and loading and unloading the van. And it was really a great experience. And I'm just very thankful for having it because I got to travel. I don't drive now because I live in Rogers Park. I don't need a vehicle, but I'm a very good driver with a perfect driving record, and I know how to get to where I'm going in the time needed to get there.
When for those magazines, when you delivered them, was that before you started the chamber? Was it through all those contacts and then the network that you developed from there? Did that help you start the chamber?
No, it didn't help me start the chamber. I believe I had this job around the beginning of the chamber.
Oh.
So it might have been 2010 maybe, because we formed the chamber in April 14th of 2009. So this may have been 2010 ish. And my job ended when the magazine folded. So Gay Chicago magazine is no longer around. And now there's another magazine that was competing with them called Grab. And so this magazine, when Gay Chicago folded, a lot of my fellow ad salesmen people, they went over there. And Craig was heartbroken. He couldn't keep it together. It was around for, I don't know, the 46 years, something like that. It was around for 36 years. It was around for a very, very long time. And when Craig was a kid, he would be, playing in the office, and his dad would be doing the magazine things. So, it was inherited to him, and he let us down with that. He let the community down. But there's a lot of things going on to this day.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Rogers Park and some of the landmarks that you told me about.
Sure. Well, we do business well-being checks within Rogers Park. As president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, our interns and our board members and other members and volunteers visit these businesses within the boundaries and outside of the boundaries a little bit of Rogers Park businesses. I've been recently walking down Clark Street myself with my own two boots, visiting all of the businesses, every single Clark Street business in Rogers Park. I did that 2 days ago and last week and the week before. That's how long it took. And if they weren't open, I just leave a note like, okay, let's see if this business has changed. Let's see if a new business came in. Let's see if there's an empty storefront for lease that we can pass this information forward to people who want to bring in a business to Rogers Park. Let's see if there's a broken window. Let's see if there's some sort of permit issue or one of those orange or green signs on the window, so I can give them a call and figure out what's going on to help them along the way. It's good to be the advocate for small local mom and pop shops in our community, stimulating our local economy and making sure that they stay open if we can possibly do it. One of the interesting things about this job, and but for our viewers, if you are with the local Chamber of Commerce and you're supporting the small mom and pop shops, restaurants and little internet cafes and computer repair shops and all of this, even though you're working with some of these businesses, or many of these businesses, some of them do not want to take advice. This is something you'll never hear anywhere except for here right now. This is the first time anyone's talked about this on the media. Business owners, it's their business. They invested, and they invested their time, their money, they put in their risk. And you know, we only have so much time to live, and only have so much money to spend. Brick and mortar storefronts. But for example, restaurants. One of the tricks to entice people to come into your restaurant, if you have steak, if you have pizza, if you have something that smells so good that you're cooking, and you're on a main street like Morse Avenue or any main street anywhere, and you've got that restaurant, the advice I give, and this will really help your business if you take it, is to blow that great smell out onto the sidewalk. Blow it out the top through your exhaust. Make sure that goes out your front door, out your back door. Get that nice steak smell out there, and people will start to get hungry and they'll come in. Reason I mention this is because some restaurants, who I gave this advice to, didn't take it, and they eventually closed. I'm not saying that's the reason why. That's not the only thing, but they didn't want to take advice. They couldn't. They just wouldn't. And there were a lot of different ways to do things. Another example.
Well, let me finish this one first.
All right.
A certain grocery store chain that I'm very familiar with, they do that, and they blow the chicken smell out the door. You could smell it about a block away, and it's so many customers come in for that chicken every week.
Are we going to get some of that chicken tonight?
Okay.
All right. See, it worked. All right. So another example is there was a pizza place, and it was on two different streets, and one of the streets was a more popular name. But the entrance to that street, the entrance to the business, was on the less popular street, and that was the exact address. So they wanted to say the address was on the more popular street because they thought that would help them. And I warned them. I gave them a warning. I said, listen, if you give them the incorrect address to your business, they are going to end up in the suburbs or someplace, because this street also goes to the suburbs. And people were going to the wrong area. They couldn't find the place because they were advertising in everything the incorrect address, because they thought that the name recognition of being on this street was more important than having an accurate address on their their newspaper ads, their coupons, their website, all their delivery apps, and it was very difficult to get people through the front door, and they closed up shop very quickly. And I do believe this one was their main Achilles heel that did kill them, because they had great product, family run, well-known name, and I just really wish they would have heeded that advice.
Yeah, great people. And everything goes to that address. Whenever there's a website, anything that's digital, internet, will have to link to an actual address that the business can be looked up at.
So similarly, we have a lot of Mexican restaurants in Rogers Park, and all kinds of flavors from around the world.
Well, you got me hooked on spices now. Before I would not eat any spicy. Then I ate spicier and spicier. First it was like the green salsa that I could eat. Now I could eat the red salsa. Now I'm eating jalapeno sauce.
Right, sure. Serrano peppers and everything. It's fantastic.
Not yet.
Jalapenos and serranos, but a lot of these restaurant owners, they don't put their address on their Facebook advertisements, like as if the name of the place you understand it's my place. You have to put your address, you have to put your phone number, and you have to put your website on absolutely everything, and that's really important. And with Rogers Park News, we have all of the businesses, all of the schools. We have all of the everybody, all of the residents and people throughout the city of Chicago coming in and trying to promote their businesses and what they're doing and their events. And you would be very surprised as to how many of these owners and stakeholders in the city of Chicago don't think to put their address because they believe that everyone already knows. It's not true. They don't know how to contact you. No matter what, even if they do, you should always put your address, your phone number, and your website.
Some of them don't even put the name of their address, the name of their business. They just say, "Oh, I have this and this," and say, "Oh, just direct message me."
For sure, that happens. So, doing these business well-being checks, I'm going around and I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to help these business owners. I'm trying to point out also issues in our community. Like, for example, I was doing a business well-being checks over by Clark and Estes in Rogers Park, 7070 North Clark Street, where the Adelphi Theater used to be. Now it's a big, I guess it's apartment building, and some storefront businesses on the bottom. And for the longest time, there's been a request for safety reasons for a stop sign, a four-way stop sign there. Because these cars they don't know what they're doing. People are having a hard time crossing the streets, especially around the time for school getting out. And so things like that. It's just another example of I've got my ear to the people. I understand what's happening because we're out there. And I'm walking around with a notebook, taking notes, walking around with my phone, taking videos and photos, and really seeing what's going on in the neighborhood.
You do have the eye, and to notice the unusual. Every time we walk by somewhere, and then you said that wasn't here before, and then you notice that.
And it's important to be observant and to be proactive. And when you see something wrong, do something about it. We get calls all day long, every single day, to the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. It's a wonderful thing, but we're a small organization and we do the best we can, and we're not funded by the city. We're 100% membership funded. So with that being understood, people are coming to us with housing issues. People are coming to us with what's the best school? Why should I move to Rogers? Is Rogers Park a safe place? Is north of Howard area not safe? What's going on with this event? How do I apply to have a yard sale? I have a lost dog. Can you get the word out for us? And also, of course, the small business owners. We're getting started and we need some help. We need to find our storefront. I have a budget of whatever, and I'm looking to live in Rogers Park. Do you know of an apartment? So I guess we're working as de facto aldermen in the 49th Ward in Rogers Park. I'm not saying we won the election. I'm not saying I'm alderman, because it's not true. But all of those questions, when either they come to us first or when they don't get a response from our alderman, they come to us. And we do the best we can to take care of everyone. Yeah,
we just got a request this week from a business asking for a recommendation letter so that they could move to another location. In another neighborhood, but we still will help them because they are a member of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce.
So we have less than a minute left. I just wanted to give our contact information and a little bit more information about us. We're the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. We're a 501c3 nonprofit trade organization. Just like all the other chambers of commerce. We support our local mom and pop shops. We do not support the agenda of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and all that Washington, D.C. lobbyist stuff. We're in the city of Chicago, and we want to take care of our own. We're not about the gun lobby. We're not about any of that. You can reach us at 773-850-0049. You can email us at info@rogerspark.cc, and our website is www.rogerspark.cc.
This is Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for watching Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show, and we will see you again next week.